freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round two recap for this week's Memorial. Joining me to break it all down, Mark Immelman is here. Hey, Mark.
How's it, Rick? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Windy out here today, man. I've seen this golf course. Ordinarily, when we come here, it's rainy, but it's dry. It was rainy earlier this week, but it's drying out, and it was windy. I mean, this golf course was a handful this afternoon. So fun. I'm looking to see what the weekend holds in store.
Yeah, I saw some of the bounces on those greens that were quite high. We'll get to the afternoon, but Mark, we're jumping right into this with a South African because the round of the day from this morning, Christiaan Bezuidenhout 5 under 67. He got off to a very hot start, a pair of birdies on 1 and 2. He would make another birdie on 5 and 9, and that makes 32 before the turn. He played his second 9 at 1 under, and he moved up 22 spots on the leaderboard. He is currently in a tie for 4th heading into the weekend.
Yeah, you know, when you look, his calling card is the wedge game and the putter. So when you have greens like you have over here, if he's dialed and he's hitting the ball the right distance, he's going to get himself a lot of looks. Then he's pretty accurate off the tee. So if you start giving him a test where there's an advantage to putting the ball in play off the tee and finding fairways, that's his game. And you know, the game's sort of been trending. I remember having dinner with him the week after the Masters in Hilton Head. And we were just chit-chatting, and he was asking me about technique and stuff. And he had just gone back to or left the previous coach he was, who I thought was kind of maybe getting a little too in-depth for him. And he hooked up with a guy who I really respect as an instructor, who would keep it simple for Christiaan. And I started to see the game sort of trending, but just no real splash just yet. So, look, this is a splash. I mean, when I got to the course this morning and I saw 67, I was like, did he play 17 holes? I mean, did he play all 18? That's how good it was. So now it's just up to Christiaan to play over the weekend because he's been around and about. He had the runner-up finish at the American Express to start this year. And he's sort of been lurking around the place, but has yet to have that really big weekend. So now he's primed. And this is the kind of golf course where it rewards what he does well.
Well, he'll get a late Saturday tee time thanks to that Friday round. Currently in a tie for 4th with Keegan Bradley. Rory McIlroy was also out this morning, Mark. He shot a 70 yesterday. He followed that up with a 1 under 71 on Friday. It was better than field average, which was about a stroke and a quarter over par. He did move up on the leaderboard, but there lacked a little bit of momentum for Rory today. He made bogey on 4. He bounces back with a birdie on 5. When he makes a birdie on 11, it's a reverse bounce back with a bogey on 12. Really just unable to get anything going for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I sort of saw it a little bit on Sunday last week at the RBC Canadian Open when I had his group. And it looked like he was fighting his golf swing just a little bit. But there he just played almost the aggressor. You know, it's like he took the driver and he hit it. And he was playing with a freedom that I hadn't seen him play with in a long time, where it wasn't like he was trying to swing too perfectly. And I often was critical of Rory because I'd see him hit shots where the ball would start off on line and then overturn and it would draw when it was supposed to fade. And you could sort of visibly see the frustration. But when he did that there, it didn't look like it bothered him. You know, he just played what he had and he put together a really good final round. And then that 6-iron he hit from the sand, the bunker on the final hole that's when I knew, okay, this boy is still Rory McIlroy. And I'm seeing a little bit of the same this week, the first 2 rounds. Not 100% there, but just keeping himself in it. The attitude looks sound. I think he's rolling the ball very well on the greens. And if he just finds a little momentum like he did over the weekend in Canada, he could be a threat. Because like I said, it's like there's an element of just playing golf to Rory right now. And it's not like making the right swing or hitting the perfect fade or whatever. It's hitting the ball, finding it, hitting it again. And it's almost a throwback in a way. And I kind of like what I'm seeing because whereas he didn't show frustration, you got the sense last week when I was watching him that there was a whole lot more in the tank. So I think maybe things are percolating and that's setting up for a good weekend. The good news is here that he sort of evaded the big number. because if it does start getting a bit wild, especially on a course around here, it can trip you up fast. So, bogeys, everyone's going to make them. And so it's all about your attitude. You stay in, you make sure you just got to get under par somehow and then get yourself within a few holes to play and see what happens.
Yeah, he's talked about how much he's enjoyed playing golf this year, and he's played quite a lot of it, and he'll be inside the top 10 going into the final 36. Collin Morikawa firmly in the mix after 18 holes, Mark. It was a Thursday 68, but he dropped back. He's now currently in a tie for 11th thanks to a Friday 74, and this was low lighted by the double bogey that he made on number 17, but this is a little bit of that back and forth inconsistency that we've seen from Collin here in 2024. He was phenomenal on approach on Thursday. On Friday, he was losing to the field. That's not something that you like to see if you're, supposed to be one of the elite ball strikers in the world. So just more inconsistencies out of Collin.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to give him a pass here. I didn't see I made the double on 17. He was playing straight downwind. And whereas the greens were softish, they were still firm on the first bounce, but the ball would grab spin. And so coming downwind there, if you're not coming from the fairway, you're likely to play over the back of the green, then all bets are off. So I'm going to give him a bit of a pass and say that I thought the conditions this morning, wind-wise, were a little more difficult than what they were in the afternoon. This afternoon, it seemed like the wind was a little less gusty, just maybe a touch more predictable. And so if you look at strokes gained numbers in relation to the field, I would say the afternoon crowd had a little easier time of it. But as far as Collin's game goes, it's just one of those days. He's still in the mix. I'm sure he's a little disappointed about it. But the good news is he put together the good first round. He has been playing well. Let's not forget, he's been in the final group in the last two major championships he's played. So it's not accidentally good. I mean, there's good stuff happening over there. And I feel like the more he plays under pressure, the more it starts to galvanize itself. And I think then all of a sudden he'll be there and one will get finished off and he'll get the victory. Then that might be just what the confidence needs, because I almost get the sense that the confidence is there, but it's just needing a little foundation. And obviously the foundation is a good score. So it looks like the work that he and Rick Sessinghaus is what the work they're doing is good. It looks like it's settling. It's now just a question of getting by it on the weekend. But 74 this morning, look, that can happen in the blink of an eye around you if you're just slightly off. So I'll give him a pass on the second round.
Well, your observations are backed up by the data. There's not true waves this week because everybody just goes out in order off of number one. But the morning tee times did play a touch easier at times, and it kind of depends on when you went out there in the afternoon. The morning played more difficult by about a stroke. The afternoon played a little bit easier.
I did Patrick proud with my eye test. You see no data there.
Eye test and data match up. That's what I love to see. Okay. We're going to turn our attention to the afternoon and the guys at the top of the leaderboard. Some familiar names there. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
And Unso, a seasoned one. And he's leaving a calling card.
How do we find a ghost? I have a plan.
And we're back. Mark, before we jump into the good, I do want to mention there was a cut. Top 50 in ties or anybody within 10 shots. Patrick Cantlay will not be around for the weekend. What are your thoughts on his year? Because it is not very good, quite honestly. He has a T4 at Riviera, a T3 at Harbour Town, no other top 10 finishes. To miss a cut at a place that he has just crushed at starts to get me a little bit worried. What is the state of the union on Patrick Cantlay?
Look, I think in a word, it would be disappointing. Whenever I see him on the range, he's got Jamie Mulligan out there, and that means that maybe there's a little work on the go. But I can't help but think, because look, guys this good, when they play badly or not well, because it's relative if you use the word bad, that there might be something else on the go. And look, he has a different role this year, being a part of the players committee or whatever, the pack, whatever you call them, that's involved with the negotiations with a PIF. So who knows? Maybe this is occupying some of his attention. One would never know. If it is, then all you can help but do is tip your cap to Rory McIlroy, who played some fantastic golf while he was facing all this headwind with that stuff. But as far as Patrick goes, he keeps stuff pretty close to the vest. Like I say, when I speak with him on the range, he doesn't seem like he's in a bad way. It looks like the work is going okay. He's that kind of a guy where all of a sudden he'll catch fire. And I would expect, as I've watched him hit, because I haven't called him much, so I haven't seen him on the course, that if something is malfunctioning, it may be on the greens. Because whenever I've seen him on the range, it's looked functional to me. So maybe it's a little bit of everything right now. And, you just get on the wrong side of a few scores and you lose some confidence. And all of a sudden you're getting bowled over by all and sundry. And that can get one's goat as well. So I don't think he's probably that far off. But I'm keen to see really what the genesis of the issue is.
61st out of 73 in putting this week. So there you go. Another eye test and data backing it up. There's a lot of big boys to talk about here in the mix. I'm going to pick out a couple, and I want to start with Ludvig Aberg here, Mark, because his even par round of 72 felt a lot better, looked a lot better. I'm not sure how much you were able to see on this, but it was 2 birdies, 2 bogeys. He had discussed, or there was a report that he has a partially torn meniscus in the knee, but he says it doesn't hurt when he swings. It doesn't hurt when he walks. It only hurts when he bends down to read his putts. So he's just playing through it for a while.
Sounds like a Brooks Koepka, just a more friendly version. Hey, look, I fanboyed a little bit this afternoon. I went and watched him play, and it didn't look like he was injured at all. The ball was taken off fast. It looked like he had complete control. There was one bad tee shot he hit down the 15th, the par 5. But the rest of it sort of looked sound. He was just on the edge a little bit. Look, the guy's got it all. I think he's going to get his share of wins. And the problem for Ludvig, as I watch him, is that he is just so good that people sort of forget he's still a rookie. I mean, this is the first time playing in this event, I think, as a professional. I'm not sure if he played last year as an amateur. So all these courses he's going to, he's getting to places now when you'll have John Deere and those sorts of things if he does play it, where he saw the courses last year. So he's still kind of learning places, and he still shows up and is a part of the reckoning. So it just speaks to how good he is. And as I was watching him play, I just couldn't help but think that, wow, from tee through green, he's almost infallible. And then on the greens, he's streaky. And I think if there was something he was going to sharpen up, it would be a little bit of the pitching and the putting. That sort of, not even the hard stuff around the greens, but just, the basic stuff. When you get those 6 up and down 6 out of 10 times, make that 7. And then when you face some of those 10, 12 footers, he had a few of those today where there were 1 or 2 left to righters where he all missed. The one was low, then the one was high. So it tells me there's inconsistency in speed off the blade. So there's things he can tighten up a little bit. But look, I mean, the guy's glorious to watch. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's a part of the storyline Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, awesome to watch hit a golf ball. Our defending champion, Viktor Hovland, has opened up with a pair of 69s. Today's 69 was an even par 36 going out, and then he tacks on a birdie at 13 mark, a birdie at 15, and then tap in birdie on 18. The struggles have been real for Viktor in 24, but it is now clicking, and it's clicking at a very good time.
Yeah, those struggles look like they're in the rear view. When I was watching Joe Mayo, Joe Mayo's rates probably tripled after Viktor went back to him. Joe Mayo, for the folks who don't know, is longtime golf instructor, used to go by Trackman Maestro. I love Joe, we're friends, but Joe can get a little cantankerous on Twitter, and he starts picking arguments with people. And he helped Viktor out of the doldrums around the greens, but when they did that work, Viktor told me that all the work on the short game and steepening up the angle of attack kind of hurt the golf swing, the full swing some. And then he started seeing other instructors to fix that up, and all he did was dig his hole deeper. So he ate some crow, called up Joe, went to Vegas prior to the PGA, and all sunshine and lollipops right now. And Joe looks like the maestro, and Viktor's looking like Viktor. I watched him hit, and the ball flight was tight. It was struck well. It was windy out there this afternoon, and he was hitting balls. It was cutting through the wind. And so I was like, yeah, go boy, because he's my one and done pick. So I need him to do a little stuff on the weekend.
You and me both, Mark. We ride together on Team Viktor right now.
Come on.
I would have loved to have heard that conversation, by the way. Hey, Joe, remember when I fired you a couple of months ago? I'd like to talk. I'd like to start dating again.
Okay. You be Viktor, and I'll go, hey, Vic, how are you, man? Oh, you want to come over here? Okay, cool. How about we go to Nobu for dinner? You paying? And then we'll talk about it some. And what you were not wanting to pay me last time, well, that's just doubled. Okay, you up for this deal? All right, cool. I'll see you on Monday morning.
That's probably pretty close to how it went. Viktor Hovland in at 6 under going into the weekend. That's a tie for second with Adam Hadwin. The man that they chase is the man who is the number 1 player in the world. It is the man who currently has 4 wins already this year. It is the man who shot the second best round of the day with a 4 under 68. I refer, of course, to Scottie Scheffler, who was clinical on his front 9. Birdies on 3, 5, and 9 before giving 2 shots back on 11 and 13. But Mark, what do you do when you're the best player in the world? You don't get them back 1 at a time. You get them back 2 at a time. He makes eagle on 15, and just for good measure, a birdie on 18. He has opened up a 3-shot lead heading into the weekend.
That's closing stretch of holes, and I include 15 in there, the par 5. It's a breather before you just get beaten across your brow by Jack Nicklaus. 16, the par 3 is difficult. Even with the teeing ground being moved, it's still hard. 17, even though it's downwind, it's difficult. 18 is just a brute. And to finish with 3 threes in that stretch, that is just silly stuff. And after I came off the golf course, some of my colleagues were in our green room, and they're like, hey, Scottie made a birdie. And I'm like, it's getting boring, isn't it? And they sort of laughed, and a few of them looked at me, and they're like, I guess you're right. Because he's just relentless. And again, what strikes me about Scheffler is not the quality of the shots that he hits, which are tremendous. Look, let's not beat around the bush. But the guy's mind is just so singular. It's like he gets inside the ropes and he goes blank. And it's like he gets blinkers on and he just goes. And he hits the right shot every single time. He might not hit it perfect, but he hits the correct shot. And there was an interaction that happened, I think it was left of 10, where he finally missed a green in regulation. And I looked at this and I'm like, he is cooked. Because from the left of the green there, you're over the bunker, downhill running away from you, beyond the flag. It's running further away from you. I'm like, he's not going to make a number, but yes, bogey is on. And he pitches it on there about 20 feet, 18 feet, whatever, and makes it. And the interaction between he and Ted Scott goes. He's over the ball, and Ted Scott goes something to the effect of, let's allow our next shot to be the great shot, not this one. So he's sort of saying to Scottie, hey, let's not get flashy with this pitch shot. Let's just let this thing get on the green somewhere and mitigate big damage. And if we make the 4, great. And I was like, this is simplistic genius, because everyone else there would try and hit the fancy flop shot, undercook one, stuff it in the bunker, make double. Or catch one slightly heavy where the club bounces into the ball. It comes out there with no spin whatsoever, releases off the green, then you're making a number. Yeah, Scheffler hits a decent one, gives himself a look, makes the par attempt, and that sort of set off. It was a run of bogeys, but it's like I just saw the guy making the correct decisions, and he just stayed patient. And I heard Jack Nicklaus, as I watched the last part of the broadcast, talk about patience. It was like Scottie was like, I'm okay. I'm not going to stress. And he hits it down 15 there and flashes the 3-iron in there to about 12, 15 feet and makes it. And I'm like, okay, the guy has either got no pulse or he's a mental master. But I tell you what, right now, there's one thing for certain. Scottie is not going to beat Scottie. So the rest of them, they better bring their game, because he's not going away.
Yeah, I love his Houdini ability to just extract himself from, even when you think he might be in trouble, he doesn't seem to be. He's just able to kind of get it back in play. He's certainly not going to follow up a bad shot with a stupid one. As you said, Mark, I like that. Scottie is not going to beat Scottie. Somebody else is going to have to come grab it.
No, but you watch all of the players too, and I will say this with mad love for Rory McIlroy, right? And I watched him play last week, and it looked great. And I was like, wow, I was lucky to watch that round. And that 6-iron he hit will go down in my list of great shots I've ever seen out of a bunker. And then I'm like, as I think about it, I'm like, it was a little shaky in spots. And he hit some shots that were like, yeah, and they were off the line and they turned back and there was a lot of movement. Scottie just doesn't look like he has a weakness right now, even on the greens. Remember just about a year ago when he couldn't make anything inside of 5 feet?
Yes.
And now look at him. Now there is no weakness. And then you couple that with the mental strength and the presence of mind that he has. Not just the fact that he hits the right shot and his patience, but the fact that he never gets in front or behind or whatever. He's just right here. And it is incredible to watch. And must be intimidating as all heck to all the competition. It's not like he looks at you and he stares through you like a Greg Norman or someone, or he gets on the tee and it's Tiger Woods and the crowds wear you out. It's just Scottie. And he beats you mentally because he's just not going to miss.
There was a moment where he came back to 6 under and then he quickly remedied that situation, and he's in at 9 under par. So that's a 3-shot lead. Josh, what does Vegas think about this? I imagine it's a number with a big minus in front of it, and it is. Yes, Scottie Scheffler minus 190 to win the Memorial. That imputes about a 65% chance that he wins this. He is 3 shots clear. Viktor Hovland, 3 back and currently in a tie for second, is 6.5 to 1. Xander Schauffele, who currently sits 6 back of Scottie, is 18 to 1. Rory McIlroy is 20. Ludvig is 22. And then you can get Keegan Bradley, Adam Hadwin, Christiaan Bezuidenhout at 25, 28, and 33 to 1, respectively. Big number there, Mark.
Yeah, well, remember, this is the same guy when he was 4 back of Davis Riley at Colonial with a round to play, that he had the same odds to win as Riley did.
That's right.
And I stuck with Riley there. I'm going to pat myself on the back, and it worked out. Scottie is going to take some beating, but there are 2 names that grab my attention there.
Okay.
No, it's not Rory. Viktor is playing beautifully. He really is. And I feel like he's just went through enough crap early in the year to sort of make it feel like this is kind of bonus golf. Because oftentimes when you're playing well a lot and you don't get wins, you get frustrated and kind of gritty. Where he had the rough patch, now it's like he's playing with this new invigorated sort of a sense of gratitude. Mm-hmm. So I like that for him. But Xander, I mean, the guy had nothing today and still kept himself in the mix. And he is on a torrid run of form right now. And when I watch him play, it just also looks like not much can really go wrong. And I'm seeing a golf course here over the weekend where it's like you're going to see kind of a US Open breakout maybe. And so you're going to have to hang around there. So as I look at those guys, Schauffele is a beautiful putter. He hangs around, good around the greens. I think he and Scheffler, the guys, are going to be a part of the story.
If your name starts with a SCH, you have a very good chance of winning this golf tournament on Sunday. I agree. Well, here's what's going to happen. We are going to get 2 more rounds, hopefully firm and fast and glorious rounds at Muirfield Village, and then we will declare a winner. And then we're going to head to the US Open. So we are just absolutely in the thick of it, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to thank producer Josh. He does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there is Mark Immelman. You can find him at Mark_Immelman, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.